Welcome to Emotions and Eating with Nicola Beer. Nicola controlled her feelings using food for 25 years, so she knows how draining it is to be constantly thinking about or acting out with food. Thankfully, having made an amazing breakthrough in her recovery, her mission became about helping others escape the unsatisfying cycle of frustration and self-medication with food. Nicola is determined to help you find your inner strength so you can be healthy, gain confidence, feel great, and be at peace with yourself and food.
Hi and welcome. I'm really happy that you're listening to this episode because I really feel it's so important, and I'm going to be talking about communication problems and verbal abuse after a cheating and just generally about affair recovery. I've supported countless couples around the world to heal from an affair, both individually and then together as a couple doing relationship coaching. When a person cheats in a relationship, it can really rock both individuals to the core. It can create so much mistrust, of course, bring up feelings of anger, rage, resentment, and it can change the way the couple feel about one another, of course. And it can be difficult when the person who has cheated is trying to repair the damage that they've caused and trying to rebuild the relationship and the trust. And of course, it's very difficult for the person who's been cheated on to make sense of it, to go through the grieving period, the shock, the feelings of betrayal. And for some people, it can feel like their whole world has come crashing down on them. And of course, when we feel absolutely, as some people describe it, when I help them individually through my breakthrough sessions and they come to me for affair recovery individually, they will say things to me like, I'm broken, I'm shattered, I'll never be the same again, I'll never be able to trust, I'll never be able to get over. Would they have ended it if I didn't find out? Would they have chosen them over me? All these kind of questions come up. And they also wonder, have I been a fool? Have I been an idiot? They sometimes attack themselves for being stupid, for being naive. And of course, this just creates more negativity and more stress in their life and in the home. And sometimes they will go into verbal abuse. Verbal abuse to really let all of their frustration out. And they can say really, really hurtful things, of course. Because when we're hurt, when we're angry, when we're enraged, when we're going through grief, we say really awful things if we're in a heightened state. And a lot of people, when they go to that seeing red stage, and they just don't know what they're saying, it's just all coming out. And then, of course, that's very difficult for the person on the receiving end to know how to handle it. Sometimes they feel so guilty already, and they then go into a depression with the verbal abuse because they really hate themselves. And sometimes, I work with that person who's cheated because they've ended up feeling so sad and so worthless that they can sometimes have suicidal thoughts because they absolutely hate what they've done to the person that they love. And if the children have been hurt or caught into it, of course that makes it even worse. So I'm going to share about a case study first of all. I've changed the names obviously to protect their identity, and they've given me permission anyway. And then I will talk to you about some tips if you're navigating this and are struggling right now. Because I strongly believe that with the right tools, with the right support, with the right individual healing and healing together, that couples can actually see the cheating and affair as a gift. Wow, this really strengthened our relationship. This was a gift because we're now closer than we've ever been before. This is a real gift because I really needed to work on my self-esteem issues, my addiction issues, my low self-worth, my fear of failing, whatever that the fear is. Because it can be very difficult, of course, for the person who has done the cheating as well to continuously put up with a lot of verbal abuse, where they begin to really hate themselves or lose themselves and slip also into a very negative, anxious, depressed place. So the case study that I'll just share about is with a couple called Reza and Amina, and they found me after searching for anger management in Dubai. We booked an initial call together, and it was there soon evident that there'd been a case of cheating, which contributed to anger and resentment that was a constant, unfortunately, in their relationship. Reza admitted to cheating on Amina a year ago with someone from his workplace. Initially, it started off as some friendly text messages, and then it got out of hand. Amina was aware that he was going into work early, he was spending more time at work, he was having more social work nights out. Amina trusted him at first, she didn't make a fuss when he was working so much, and then one night he left his laptop open. Amina just had this gut feeling, I need to look, something's going on. So she spent that night looking through his emails and noticed that there were highly inappropriate messages between him and this other colleague, and it had been going on for months. She started taking loads of screenshots, forwarding emails to herself, and then closed the laptop. At first, she didn't know how to cope. She was, in her words, a mess. She felt completely lost, so angry, so hurt. She hated him, but she loved him. She felt like she was stupid for believing that he was working late and working hard. She felt that it was so unfair because she does so much for the family. She organises paying all the bills. She organises all the house. She raises their 3 children with very little help from him. She does everything. And she was supporting him to excel in his career. She supported him when he needed to go to the gym and exercise all the time. She was supporting him with everything from her perspective. And she confronted him, and he lied. He told her, no, it's just stupid banter, it doesn't mean anything, it's a joke. And Amina was just so crushed at being lied to because she knew it was more. And then she felt like her husband thought she was stupid. But he was looking at her in the eyes and saying, please, trust me, it's nothing. And so when we talked it all through, from his perspective, yes, he was lying, but when he was saying that it meant nothing, he really meant that. And that's why he kept saying it's nothing. Because to him, having the shock of his wife finding out, he really realised quickly, what on earth have I done? Why have I created this pattern? And so he wanted to work with me to get to the root of what led him to get hooked on someone else and to use this other person as an escape. So they decided that because they'd loved each other, because they'd been together since university, and they'd grown up together really, that they did really want to make it work. And they also really believed in marriages for life. The months that followed were extremely difficult for both Amina and Reza. Reza felt so guilty about what happened and was so thankful that Amina was giving him another chance. It was becoming really difficult for him to understand how to help her though, because he wanted to not talk about it, not go over the past, and focus on rebuilding, which is great after you've gone through all of the questions, after you've given the other person the answers. They need to have peace of mind. And the less you tell them, the more they will be overthinking everything, trying to put the puzzles together, becoming like a detective. Their mind will not shut off. They will wake up in the night and check things and check dates and check emails and check where they were and check where you were and check everything. So the more information you can give will save them having those nights where they wake up in a panic, or their unconscious mind wakes them up and says, hang on a minute, what happened when he went away on this trip? Was it really a trip? Where was I? What was I doing? Were we communicating that day? What date was it? Let me check my emails, let me check my WhatsApps, let me check whatever messaging service you use. So this is how the spiral can create a stronger, more painful reaction if information is withheld. And so communication is, of course, really key. Amina really went into extreme rage, and it was really hard for her to function in every day-to-day life. When she would go to a restaurant or to a mall with her children or with her husband, she would look at couples and she would think, he's probably cheating on you. I wonder if he is cheating on you. I wonder if they're a couple or if they're the affair partner. And she saw love and romance as fake. She couldn't watch TV in the same way. She thought all romance is just a load of rubbish. She really struggled to be kind to Reza. There were moments where she felt, I love him and I really want this to work. But to her, every day was a constant reminder of how hard she felt that she had loved him and how he didn't love her, he didn't want her. Her mind was filled with these negative thoughts. And everything he did wrong would trigger him. So, for example, something like not taking out the garbage on the day. Amina's anger would escalate from 0 to 100 within seconds because she had just so much of this pent-up anger inside. And she would lash out at the smallest things, calling him names such as incompetent fool, you're not capable of doing anything, you've ruined us, you've ruined the kid's life, you've destroyed everything, you've ruined my life. And of course there were moments where they were having a really great time together, a really great weekend, and then unfortunately Amina couldn't help it. She would have some really horrifying thoughts or images and she would need to bring it up. And Reza would get really impatient and aggressive back because he was so tired. Of course, at the beginning he was very patient, and after 3 or 4 weeks his patience started to dwindle. And this made Amina even more angry because she felt he had made her like this, he had made her into a crazy person, and he wasn't helping her. He was getting irritated. How dare he? She was thinking. And both began to lose hope. Both began to believe that maybe it's better that they separate. Maybe that's the only way to have peace. Amina just felt so insecure and alone. She felt like she was losing her mind. She felt like she had lost the happy, calm, fun, caring Amina. She also blamed herself for maybe not being good enough, not being up for sex enough. And this made her angry again. Why should she blame herself? So she was conflicted and confused and definitely consumed. Neither of them knew what to do. Reza was tired of being verbally attacked daily. He started antidepressants and was finding it harder and harder to respect himself. And Amina felt terrible also. She felt so guilty at attacking Reza. She hated the person that she'd become. She'd never experienced anything like this before. The panic, the frustration, it was something new to her. So when they came to me, I could clearly see that the individual work would be the best to start with. So I first worked with Amina. We did a 3-day breakthrough session to restore the calmness and peace and to focus on what she really wanted. It was clear that The affair had awakened many horrible experiences.